Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equality, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders.
I am Larvetta Lofton, your host and the founder of the L3 Agency.
Known as the brand maven who transforms organizations with her storytelling prowess, meet Larvetta L. Lofton, host of Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact.
All righty. I am excited about our next guest. You guys, we've been talking about Women's History Month, and I will tell you all a little bit about Women's History Month because each time we get to bring a female entrepreneur that is doing some incredible things, I'll be honest with you, it always lines up to kind of like this topic and where we are. And so our next guest is really... I think you guys are just in for a treat because here's the theme of 2024 for Women's History Month. It will be women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion. Imagine that. And so our next guest, literally, this is what she does. So I am over here like, how did we get so lucky and fortunate to have her on the show? Guys, you all know we are a women-led agency, and so whenever I get to be amongst women, I get chills. Don't get me wrong, nothing against our men, because we love them too. But so we love them. We do. We appreciate them because literally I'm not able to do what I do without this amazing engineer in the background making sure the sound is excellent. So we always say it's about inclusion. It's not about taking anything away. It's about inclusion. So I am excited to introduce our next guest. Her name is Chiquita Hall Jackson. She's an award-winning licensed attorney and adjunct law professor and is the visionary behind Blow the Whistle Law social justice movement. Yes, I said blow the whistle, and we're not talking about Too Short, y'all. We're going to dig in a little bit about that. But what she doesn't know is that's one of my favorite songs, like one of my favorites. So that's why I said this is going to be fun. And she is the founder of the top employment law firm, Hall Jackson Associates, PC, as the first Black president of the National Employment Lawyers Association and a 7-time recipient of the Top 40 Under 40 Award. Chiquita's unwavering drive stems from her belief that every workplace should be a diverse and inclusive environment where employees can feel safe and empowered to be their authentic selves. Ha! And notice, we're talking about Women's History Month. Like, we've got the perfect person here to talk about this. Dubbed the discrimination disruptor, her personal experiences of workplace injustice combined with her mother's career as a juvenile correctional officer have inspired her to fight relentlessly for workers' rights. Chiquita's mission is furthered through corporate D&I trainings, employer equity consulting, speaking engagements, and education of inner-city youth on their legal rights. Welcome to the show, Chiquita.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. Did you know what the theme was for 2020?
No, I did not.
I know. I
think
told
it's so
you.
cool.
Isn't it cool? It's perfect. And you're the perfect person to really dive into this because of the theme. So, because you are doing this work. And I think knowing, I say this all the time, is it's not that we don't have it, we don't have enough. And so we sometimes, well, we don't have it. No, we have it. We just don't have enough of it. And so the opportunity to know that now I know someone that is dubbed the discrimination disruptor, don't play with me, because when I hear that, I'm like, wait, I know somebody. So Chiquita, before we dive into who you are and the work that you're doing in this place of equity, who was Chiquita as a little girl?
Aww. Now that gets me all fuzzy.
That's what we do this is what we do on the show. We get a little fuzzy.
So as Chiquita, I was always a loudmouth, I say. Talkative.
Okay.
My mom would say when I was younger, I'll say before 4, probably. The age of 4, I was kind of quiet.
Okay.
But I was one that would go in the room and watch TV while my cousins outside jumping double dutch. And,
so you don't play double dutch?
I don't know how to double dutch. I'm
Chiquita,
sorry to
now
let the
I'm like,
culture down.
You let the culture down. Because we talking about, women and now we're talking about Black women. Now we know how to double dutch.
Yes. So unfortunately,
that's just one thing that she doesn't do. Otherwise, everything we were aligned. Blow the whistle, we were aligned. 40 under 40, we were aligned. Now I just found out she doesn't play double dutch, but it's okay.
My cousins got tired of trying to teach me, so they told me just go sit down somewhere. So because of that, I used to just sit in front of the TV, watch Lifetime. And I was always be excited about trying to solve the crimes at the end. So I just knew by the age of 5 or 6 that I really wanted to go to law school.
Wow, you knew that very early on. Wow.
But I always was an advocate for people.
I love
when
it.
someone was in school and they didn't have, people was picking on them because they were smelly, I'll be the one. I actually remember stealing soap from my mom.
Wow. And you would steal soap?
I would take the soap and a few extra fresh pair of pennies and give them to the kids along with some towels and stuff.
Wow.
And that was just always in me for some reason.
Okay.
To just help others.
I love that we always start with that because I think that there's correlation to kind of how you start to where you are and the work that you do and the stories and telling these stories that we don't ultimately get to tell. So you were the what did they call it? The girl who solved the mysteries back in the day. What was her name? Nancy Drew. So you were Nancy Drew.
There you go.
Yeah, you were. Okay. I knew a Nancy Drew. Well, it's funny when you say talkative because my parents thought I would be an attorney because I always had to debate. I always had no, but no. No, but no. So I think that there's something to be said when I say with attorneys and marketers. We love to research. We love to come back with some. No, but this and this. So I think there's some correlation. So tell me your journey from the kind of crime story, Nancy Drew kind of thing to now I'm going to law school and recognizing that as a Black woman, right, you didn't see anyone in school that looked like you. How did that feel?
And so I love it. Luckily for me, matriculating through grammar school and high school, it was enough chocolate girls that did look like me, but going into undergrad, it was very rare. Excuse me. But we find our people and we connect with them and we go in different organizations and things like that so we can feel included. And then going to law school, the good Lord had placed me at a historical Black college for law school.
Where? Could you tell
Southern
us?
University Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
No way. So Chiquita, I went to Southern in Baton Rouge my first year of college.
Wow.
Okay, so she redeemed herself and not doing double dutch. So now, she's an HBCU alum. Okay, all right. Oh,
so yes. But the crazy part, I always tell the story. When I was in high school, we all got together after school one day and sat in this one particular teacher's class, and we all had applications. Then we gonna go to apply for NIU. We're gonna apply to our local state schools, but it was a few of them that really wanted to go to HBCUs, and they was gone hog about going to Atlanta and all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't want to go to no HBCU. The corporate world ain't Black, so I am not.
Wow.
And so that was my attitude. And so I just happened to stumble upon this HBCU for law school. And when I tell you it's the best experience of my life, and I'm glad I did. I always say if I went to law school in Chicago, I don't think I would have survived. More so distractions of family and friends. And then the idea of this competitive and catering to students of a certain demographic. And by me being a law school professor who actually teach legal writing at a local law school, the coddling, is just ridiculous. I needed that firm hand and Black people that look like me that were my professor that we don't want to hear your excuses. Let's get this done. Yeah. You can't be out here advocating for people and every little thing gonna take you out. Yeah. I needed that.
And I think Black colleges does a extraordinary job in building your confidence as a Black individual, as a whole Black individual, right?
I agree 100%.
When you leave there's a part of you that's like, I can rule the world. Then you get in the world, you're like, wait, hold up. Hold up. And it's frightening. I just remember my professors really holding me accountable to those things that you said you were going to do and reminding you of that daily because they knew me as Larvetta, right? They didn't know me as a number. And I think that also is part of that reason. And I honestly believe for many of even with the work that you're doing, I think we see it firsthand there because ultimately, I know for me, when I went to Southern and Baton Rouge, it was frightening for me because I was a true city girl. And Baton Rouge at the time, they
Still is.
Okay. At the time, and I say it's probably, the banks would close at 11:30 and then they would open back up for lunchtime. Now, here's the thing. Back then, I was just like, why they close? Like, who going to lunch? But let me say this, fast forward, everybody needs a break. So now I get it. But back then I was just like,
it was unusual.
Yeah, it was so unusual coming from this big city. Oh my gosh. Like, and the cows come out at night. And I'm like, oh Lord, this is too much. But you recognize that at that, and I appreciate you because I end up transferring and going to Clark Atlanta. But I will say that coming from there, the one thing that I loved and appreciated in the HBCU world is that they advocate for this level of in every area, right? Sports. I mean, everything. Like
excellence. Black excellence.
I mean, it's at a high level.
Yeah. And
so
you
if
come
you're
out
not
in the world, your family and friends ain't ready for this new confident version of you.
Right. Like, I think I'm all that.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, Chiquita, because growing up, most people don't know. Some people do, some people don't. So if you guys been hearing me for quite some time, I may not have told you all this. But when I was coming up, my name was Lavetta. Okay. And it was because a young kid was like, oh, Larvetta, it sounds like larva, as in volcano, right? You learning about volcano. So I was like, okay. Came back from Clark Atlanta. I was like, I'm Larvetta L. Lofton. It's like you got all this newfound confidence. And people were like, girl, she done gone to college and now she's Larvetta. So I do think it creates this level of confidence that is unparalleled. And when you see your sister who went to another HB, it's like the level of community and togetherness and belonging. Oh my gosh. Like it's something that is unparalleled and unmatched. It really is. And my girlfriends who go to PWIs and went, and they're always like, it's a whole vibe. It's a whole experience when you go to a classic. They're like,
yes.
Like going to a football game is like very different, from them versus us. So I do agree with you.
That's my family Thanksgiving tradition. We want to see Southern versus Grambling.
Honey. Yeah, right. That. And so attending that and understanding that. And so when I think of, now that I see, based on the background you have, your foundation was solid, right? Coming from that HBCU and being the first Black president of the National Employment Lawyers. Let's just take a minute for that, y'all. Just take a minute and just breathe that, because Women's History Month, to know that we have the first Black president of the National Employment Lawyers Association. I think that's huge. So shout out to you for that. That's incredible. Having that role, can you tell us or did you experience any microaggressions just holding that position?
Oh, honey, you let me know that my work is not in vain. We need to continue.
Okay.
And you know what? The crazy part was, I sat on this board for years before getting that title, and every progressive thing we did, they can say Chiquita incorporated this idea, including bringing up the legislation committee, reviving that and making sure we actually got bills passed, going down to Springfield. I was damn near probably 7 months pregnant in Springfield, advocating, lobbying, and things like that. Bringing law students to the table. Anything that we did within the last 5 years that I sat on that board, Chiquita ideas. But I will say I appreciate my colleagues for allowing me not to just be another Black sitting at the table. Everything I asked for and I wanted to do, they made sure we got it done. But like you said, did I experience the microaggression? Everything came at a halt when I did get, everybody was excited first year, we was good. But second year, they reached out to the board and said, we would like to nominate one of your very own for a national award for the work that they have done. And it was announced at our February 2023 meeting that they didn't say who. And, I'm sitting around, and you don't want to be cocky and automatically assume it's you.
Right.
But the moment I knew it was me, a white lady that sat on the board with me, who actually nominated me for the role of president.
Wow.
Speaking of from pet to threat, as long as I was, someone she can mentor and, feel sorry for the little Black girl and I want to help make myself feel good and do right.
Was she your advocate and ally?
Yeah, that's
awesome.
what happened. So yeah, she definitely was all about, let's get you this role and how we can help you, this and this and that. And then when they made that announcement that they wanted to nominate me, everybody's going to, so should we do a party for this person? How much money should we put a little extra towards that? Because we do an annual donation to National anyway. And she goes, oh, please. And at that point, I was like, oh, it ain't nobody but me. Who else would irritate the hell out of you that they want to nominate and do this for this person? And then from there, it was like just a trickle effect, pointing out every little thing that can go wrong. Oh, you mispronounced someone's last name. And, people that sat on the board with me, and they like, it's okay. Like,
wow. So they literally switch roles.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And and the crazy part is that while she was president, every advancement and acknowledgement that the board got was because of ideas that I brought to the table and that we actually incorporated and got it done. She didn't bring anything. She was just someone who sat at the table. She barely really practiced employment law. Her background was really intellectual property. But nonetheless, I just saw it. And then I went to this workshop in April of last year. And I got introduced to the phrase pet to threat. And I was like, that's exactly
Tell me what's pet to threat.
Great questions for this lovely D&I conversation. So for pet to threat, I also talk about it in my book, We Gonna Be All Right.
Okay.
But within that, what it simply is that long as, I don't know if you ever had this, but majority, and if not all of my mentors have been white males since I was a little girl. And I have declared I wanted to become an attorney. So in earliest high school, it was a white male who took me and got me the job and took me to the Rotary clubs and dinners and things like that and made the introductions for me. And this throughout my career, undergrad, law school, and now I'm an attorney. So fast forward, you will notice that to a white person, 9 times out of 10, you will never be a threat to them because of the idea that I don't care how advanced you are, how articulated, how educated you are, you will never get the level of success that I have. You will never get the privilege that I have. So that's why I believe that most of them do serve, and they kind of feel sorry for us, and they want to mentor us and make themselves feel good from some things that their ancestors have done. And so as a result of that, most of them don't mind calling us and helping us and making introductions and doing what they need to do. But the moment you challenge them or you seem that you are trying to get more progressive than what they're doing and you getting too much acknowledgement, then now you become a threat. And now I need to shut your ass down and make sure you realize that you will never get the level of success that I have. And whatever I can do in my power to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm going to do it. And I talk about it in my book, but that's exactly, and so that's
a real term. Pet to threat.
Pet to threat. You can Google it.
Wow.
And that's what I noticed what was going on. This lady had the year before had just in the previous August wrote 2 checks for me for my non-for-profit to feed little black kids on the South Side. She paid for a food truck, and then she gave another $1,000 donation for backpacks. As long as I'm someone in need, and I'm this story, and I'm sad, and I want to help bring you up and your community up, you okay.
Yeah.
But when you get the respect of national, who dare you, and who do you dare think you are?
Yeah.
And that's what most people are dealing with. For me, luckily, this was a volunteer role that I had to deal with someone monthly, but it's people who have to go to work with this every day.
Yeah.
And so that role, when you ask me that question, it shined a lot of light that it's so much work we need to do, because I can't see how people go to work and deal with it daily.
And so when you think about that, exactly. And I think for some white people, they're doing it for family, right? They're doing it for, I think family is probably the biggest one, but maybe they're also doing it to get to another place, right? Wherever that next place is. So you have to, whether that's family for your direct immediate family or that's for family that's sick, right? It's some reason. And do you see, or can I wonder, what kinds of effects does that place on the generation that's behind? Like how do you see that affecting those individuals who are put in those kind of situations?
Moving forward, that's why I'm on a mission through Blow the Whistle Law to just simply educate, because it's so many of us, we believe that this is the norm. And that's what we have to do. It's so many people at our age group. And when I say ours, we're talking about late 30s on up, that we feel like this was what our grandparents went through. This was what my mother and my parents went through. So this is the norm.
Yeah.
You're not going to be happy at work. Shut your mouth, swipe in, swipe out, get your check every Friday, every other Friday, and do what you need to do to take care of your family, to pay the bills, to make sure your kid can go to college, to make sure you have a retirement.
That's true.
And that's what you're supposed to do. But I have a 3-year-old. She will not, and I declare she will not dare have anybody talk to her any kind of way in a workplace and think it's okay. Because you can't control what people
started at 3. I mean, that is powerful to be able to say that. And I think, to your point, because I just remember as a younger professional, and, you know, you go there, you do your work, you know, you clock in, you know, you just be a good child now, just be a good student over there. They gave you that good job, right? And honestly, when you said discrimination disruptor, I have not heard that. So I love that there is someone that is dubbed that, because when you think about that, I also think that becomes it becomes power.
Yes.
It just does, because oftentimes, and I'm sure you see this because you know, you're fighting for this. You almost think, maybe I'm just hallucinating.
Come on.
Maybe that just didn't happen. Maybe I was, no, that's not what happened. And
I'm sensitive.
Yes.
I'm sensitive. And because I had to say it myself, like, maybe I'm being oversensitive.
Right.
I'm being overly sensitive, and what they're saying are just words, and it's not that bad.
So tell me this, what about the one when it's the Black angry woman and she's aggressive? You know, because we're talking about women, right? I just want to, and we say this, and I want to, like, what does that mean when you are, because I still haven't figured that out. Like, the Black aggressive woman, which I believe is really assertive. You're assertive. I don't think it's aggressive. And then I've also realized that, when did aggressive become negative? That's why I want to, when did that become negative, right? Because aggressive means, right, if you're going after something, you want something really bad.
And you want your attorney to be aggressive, right? But how far do you want this Black female attorney to be aggressive? And in what space and setting? Should it only be in the courtroom? And even in a courtroom, a judge will look at me. You might want to watch your tone, young lady.
Oh my God. Yes.
But my colleague is applauded for bringing that aggressiveness.
Wow.
And you better publicize on your website that you're aggressive and that you fight for your client.
Yes, because when they say it, you're right. It's like, oh, he's an aggressive, or oh my gosh.
But
yes.
I'm aggressive,
and I'm the angry Black woman. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But that's what you want in an attorney, right? You want someone that's aggressive and that's going to fight tooth and nail for you.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. But the Essence article that dropped yesterday that was featuring me, that's what we talked about. How the idea of this angry woman, Black angry woman comment phrase has populated, and how did it start, and what can we do when we deem that in a workplace?
So listeners, okay, you all know, I mean, it's Women's History Month. And I want you guys to learn more about Chiquita. Like, I want you all to learn more. So she just recently was on Essence. So one of the things that you can do is you can go to her website. Now, she has 2 websites, and we're going to dig in a little bit. One of them is blowthewhistle.com. So check that out, right? Blow the Whistle. And I don't know about you all, but most of us love Too Short, Blow the Whistle. So you should not forget that one. So that's why I'm giving it to him first, Chiquita, because Blow the Whistle, people just won't.
Yes, and I would just like to add, throw the law on the back end of there, because there is someone that has Blow the Whistle. They have a whistleblowing firm. So they beat me to the domain, y'all. When you want a domain, go run and get it. It's blowthewhistleLaw.com. Blow the Whistle Law.
Okay,
but
so
I did get Blow the Whistle from Too Short.
Okay, that's all right. We're going to get Too Short some love. Too Short, we love you. And then she also has a book, and we're going to talk a little bit about that book so that you can also learn about this, because I think that it's important, listeners, that this information is being presented, because I'll be honest with you, 15, 20 years, I was a victim of age discrimination. And so that was a real thing. And we still don't, we don't always address that and understand I was a victim of that, and understanding but I was much like you. I quit. I was like, you know what? You don't see me. Okay. I'm about to go I'm about to go make sure the rest of the world sees me. So again, though, to your point, I think it was that HBCU pride. Like, how dare you?
No,
like, how dare you?
I'm
like,
educated.
I'm educated. And I'm educated. You know, I'm creative. I'm innovative. I mean, and so what? I'm young. What does that mean?
I bring something to the table.
Exactly. So I think that's important. So I do, before we get into the book, Mom was a juvenile correctional officer?
Yeah, strict as hell.
But look what she created now, boy. I love it. I love it. So did some of this help you in a lot of ways?
So yes, my mom was a juvenile correctional officer. She actually was in St. Charles, which is for juveniles. That's in Cook County and Illinois. Period.
Okay.
They ship them down from all kinds of counties. But ultimately, the juveniles, and they start as early as 11.
Wow.
And a lot of them was like molestation, some gang activity. So it was a mixture of all that. And so with that is more so she witnessed so many kids live because that's the beginning of their sentence and where they're serving time. But 9 times out of 10, they had like a healthy sentence on the back end where they're going to now transition to the adult facility. But their youth is now gone. As my child, you're not going to do this. So the strictness of that and, witnessing these kids' lives go down the drain. Also, the idea that my mom was out here, she was one of the officers that they could relate to regardless of their upbringing, and they enjoy. Even I remember we was in college. I went to NIU undergrad, North Illinois University. And me and my cousin was, DeKalb is like 20 minutes from there. Me and my cousin was in a program called Trio, and we was on a bus going on some kind of trip, and this guy go, "Man, you look like Hall. Is your last name Hall? Your mom is such and such." And he said, "Man, she was the best correctional officer. She was always so respectful of us. She did this and this and that."
Right.
And just all, and my mom was just a big giver across the board. So when they had to transport these kids, they eating jail food. We're going to stop and get some McDonald's. We're going to get some KFC. And there's ain't going to be disrespectful guards eating in your face, talking crazy to you and stuff. Just someone to treat you with care. And as you, another human being. And so all that always, because it was in my household, even when we had to let 50 million people come stay with us because they, whatever their personal situation may have been. So I believe all that was embedded in me.
That's incredible. Yeah. I think it's incredible because I don't know that I know a female juvenile correctional officer.
My mom.
So mommy was that. That's awesome. And so when we talk, obviously we're talking about this theme. And so when I think about the corporate setting, right? How do you protect the employees that could be, and I'm going to use this word, I guess, with this, that could be scrutinized when you walk out that door after you've done the trainings, after you've done the work? Because I've heard that. Like, I do all this, but then I get fired 6 months later because of that. How do you tell, an employee, this Black woman who's mid-level, who's working her way to be vice president, to come in and do these trainings and then know that, hey, this was great. Thank you, Chiquita. They paid you. Great. All right. They got your books. Okay. And then 6 months later, she is not considered for that role, or she ends up having to be forced to leave, because that's often what Black women
every
are
day,
forced to
at
do.
least once a week, we get those calls. And that she kept referring to is the idea that I'm training someone who does not look like me to take my place. I'm training someone who does not look like me to get the promotion that I've been waiting for years and that I deserve. And they don't know nothing about this role. And then I pull in HR, I dare question why I didn't get the role. You don't have the qualifications. You don't have this, but you just had me train the person who taken this role. So what I tell them every day is, we want to document. We want to take note of it. We want the emails that state, can you meet with X, Y, and Z? We're going to give Stacy a name today. Can you meet with Stacy, and can you help her? Can you train her on this? Can you do this? Can you meet with this? And you also want a screenshot or print out of those calendars where you are meeting with this person, training them. So how dare you now come and say, I did not qualify?
That's good.
You want a copy of the job qualifications and that job description that outlines that at minimum you should have a bachelor's, at a minimum you should have this. What did this person have? You want the name of the individual who did get the position, because that's what you have lined up for is a failure to promote claim based on discrimination 9 times out of 10.
But Chiquita, here's what I do hear. And I say I hear. People know it. And I believe you might have mentioned it earlier. I don't want to go through the trouble. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend the time. How do you help those? Because some of it I think it's mental oppression. I do. I think it's you've been oppressed for so long that mentally you're like, I don't believe I'm going to win anyway. Yeah. So that's it. So, how do you talk to those? Because I have a friend similarly kind of with that. And I told her she needs to fight for it. Like, you need to fight for it. How do you believe that? Because I think in that moment you do feel like you're by yourself. And right. And then I just lost my job. I can't afford an attorney. So how do you deal with those individuals in those cases that, I don't know, maybe they don't believe they have a case. I don't know. Maybe they don't believe that they have the money because they don't know how much it's going to, I don't know. So how do you address those individuals?
Shameless plug, but we going to be all right.
This is called Black. This is Black Businesses Matter. We do lots of shameless plugs over here. So
I'm going to go ahead and put it on my thing. We're going to be all right. A Black Executive's Guide to Navigating Workplace Dynamics. And this is exactly what I talk about in my book because of the idea that we do have this fear of litigation. We do have this idea that I just cannot afford an attorney right now. So what I'm trying to get more people to do is stop rushing to go to get lawsuits. Everything does not result in the EEOC claim, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or any state agencies and OSHA and all this stuff. A lot of it is advocating for ourselves while we're in the workplace. And so that's why I wrote the book, because I get so many calls and I'm crying with you, I'm upset with you. But unfortunately, based on what you're telling me, there's no legal claim here. However, 9 times out of 10, somebody else convinced you to go to the EEOC, and it's usually a friend or a family who know nothing about the law.
That's true.
And now once you go to court, your information is public record. So the idea that now you have to go, you just freshen your career.
Wow.
I want to apply. The first thing when I want to interview you, after I read your resume and see that you were the interview, I want to Google you. And when I Google you, your case 9 10 is going to be one of the top 5 things, if not the top 3 things that pop up. So I'm trying to get our people to stop rushing to litigation, but not realize, just as you have a criminal attorney on speed dial and you have your wills and trust attorneys and things like, you need to have an employment law attorney on speed dial. And you need to be reaching now. And even if you don't have one, Google them and retain when you can do a free consultation. There's an option for paid and there's an option for free to kind of understand, how can I get through this? But 9 times out of 10, the failure to promote, you don't have to necessarily sue, but there is room for severance. And just how you talked about with your experience, a severance would have been excellent for you to get out of there, because what does it do? It allows you to have this cushion of cash while you, and whatever else you negotiate for, medical, we like to ask for additional medical insurance and coverage over this time, because
some executive search firm
support, some coaching, some career counseling, all that stuff while you wait in the waiting room, is like I like to call it, because you actually don't guarantee to have another job lined up, and it may take you 3 months to a year to find that next job. So why do they get to continue to live their lives and build into their retirement funds and key and have fun while you at home depressed, borrowing from mom, dad, cousin, and swiping up every credit card? No, we're going to get the severance, and you're going to help me get through this pain point. And not to mention the depression that comes with it.
Right.
So I need my mental health benefits as well. I need to go see a therapist, and you need to pay for it until I'm ready to go into the job market. Because right now, I can't even function in an interview right.
Wow. That's so true.
Severance over litigation any day.
And I think, I'm just so glad you're here for Women's History Month, because I think as we think about this, because we also do this. I don't need their money. I'm out. Stop.
Ooh, please. Can we say it one more time?
Okay, for the people in the back.
Please.
Stop.
You need it. I need it. You need it.
Because I think that's our way of saying, I don't need the money. It ain't even about money. And we have to understand, is though. It's about the resources, right? Because that's it. Yes.
I'm in class. Can I please jump in? Can I raise my hand?
Yes.
Because here's the thing. And I tell people all the time that retains my office or any attorney, you don't know how to, as Black people, I love us. I'm an advocate for us. I'm the face for us every day. We do not know how to utilize our attorneys. I represent a group of individuals right now. Every news station, everybody that want to talk to them, they want to run. Why are you running? No, you have an attorney.
Yeah.
Your attorney sits there with you. How many news press have you seen a white man, a white female suing their employer or whoever, Target, Walmart, they have their attorney sitting in their press conference with. We don't know how to do that. And so it's how you hurt the people that hurt you, aka the corporation that allowed this to happen when you went to HR and they did nothing on your behalf. Money. Yeah, you play with their money. You play with those bonuses. I can't pay everybody a bonus this year because why? We had too many lawsuits. We had too many severance negotiations that we did not calculate and budget into. So they gonna come in and shake some stuff up. Now the CEO got to come down from out his comfy office. What the hell is going on in this plant? Yeah. What the hell is going on in this division where we're getting back-to-back litigation? Yeah. And that's so we do need the money. You need it.
You need it. And I think it's okay. And I think we need to, I believe, function in this place of deserving. That we deserve it all. We deserve it all.
I deserve it. So I deserve it. I deserve it. Why?
So, I mean, I think we need to function in that. And I love literally that this whole theme for Women's History Month of advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion, I can't begin to tell you that I love that. Unfortunately, right, for Women's History Month, it's only 30 days, right? So we need to continue this on 365 days out the year.
Just like McDonald's say, 365 blacks, 365 days.
We should be doing that. However, we'll take it, right? We'll take it. And the difference is with Women's History Month, we are at least being very intentional with highlighting Black women in this space because of that, because making sure that we are not pushed out in this conversation. So I want to say to our listeners, hey guys, I want to quickly make sure that you all know how to get in touch with Chiquita. She's going to drop literally her handles so that you can connect with her, learn more. She's dropping. What she said is, I'm educating. And so when you think about someone who is experiencing that, send them her website. Go buy the book. Like, this is how we can help each other. So please share your handles for your social media.
Sure. It's at Blow the Whistle Law. Blow the Whistle Law on all social platforms. And then Chiquita Hall Jackson. That's a hyphen between Hall and Jackson. And my first name is just like the banana. CHIQUITA.
Guys, I mean, this is just, I don't know about you all, but it's just been an incredible discussion around this. And I hope that we have more and more discussions around this because it's important. And guys, her website is We Gon' Be All Right Book. I had to look at it. I was like, is that right? We Gon' Be, and that's GON, y'all. For those of you all that don't know, beallrightbook.com. And that's the name and that's the title of her book. It's a beautiful book, A Black Executive Guide to Navigating Workplace Dynamics. Is it on Amazon as well?
By the time this air, we will be on Amazon with an ebook, hard copy, and paperback.
Okay. So, and this is a beautiful color.
Thank
you. Beautiful. I really like it a lot.
Shout out to my book design.
Yeah, shout out to him. It's really, I love the design of it. First of all, I like it. So, you guys, I'm a marketer, so I know this. I love that your face is not on here.
Come on.
And I'm only saying, not to say
no,
that.
It's not.
Was that intentional?
It was intentional.
Yeah, I said that.
I think when people put their face on it, depends on what level you're at. If you're not a celebrity,
that part,
and you're not a household name, it looks cheesy.
It does.
And I'm giving you my professional opinion. So when I'm browsing through the bookstore and I see a self-published or someone who's not a household name, it looks cheesy.
Yeah, I think it's cheesy. Just like We Gon' Be All Right can speak to different segments, I think, of all people, right? And so while you're speaking to a segment of Black individuals, but I think it also allows for young professional, young college student, baby boomer. Like it literally it speaks to all of that. So shout out to your designer on that. I think it was excellent. So one of the things that we ask every guest when they come into the studio, now that we have a full-fledged studio, because when we first started, we didn't have it. Thank Thank you. We started humble beginnings. We started literally in my house, but it's okay because we're not there anymore. Thank God.
Cheers.
Why do Black businesses matter?
Oh, baby, Black businesses matter because we need to be the face and visual and the face of hope for our babies, our young generations. We talk bad about these kids on the South Side, but baby, as a little girl growing up on the South Side of Chicago, I got excited when we used to have career day. I got excited when motivational speakers came because that was a vision of hope of what I could become and what I will be. And baby, the more we show that, like you said, humble beginnings, it ain't easy. It won't be easy. We're not going to have all the glitz and glam at the beginning. But because I stayed the course and I stayed faithful to what I was promised as a little girl, it is here and it's only going to get better from here. Yeah. Black businesses matter and need to stay and thrive and be the example for my little 3-year-old.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, Chiquita. You know, I ask that question and I say this all the time. I know people get tired of me. I get chills when I hear it, but I really do because every person who answers gives us a different perspective of motivation and understanding and empowerment around it. And I'm grateful for it, which shows the different hues that we are as Black people. We are not monolithic and the opportunity that we can all thrive together in our own different perspectives. And I love that, you know, so when I ask that question, you know, I get a different response and it's just incredible. A different from every Black person, you know, a different response.
Because it all means different things for all of us.
Correct. And it's okay that it does, right?
Yeah.
It just means that in that space, that's why I have to keep asking it to enforce and make sure that it is consistent and we continue to have this frequency that we matter in that space, right?
And we do matter.
Don't
and we do
matter.
You don't.
Girl, we do matter. Like for real, for real. The other question that we ask every guest, because you know, in my experience and now, you know, just experience a tremendous amount of pain, I've learned that we have to celebrate our Black joy. And we don't do enough of that. It's funny, Chiquita, you'll appreciate this. I was reading up on Jim Crow. And I was reading up, and one of the things that I found that just kind of blew my mind, and it's something that we're going to address in very soon, is you were not allowed as a Black couple to show any affection. So that's why we don't show affection openly. That is in the Jim Crow. Like if you Google, that's one of the things that you did not do. Wow. Right? So realizing that could be your joy, but you've taken that away from me. And so we're not able. So when I read that, I was like, because I'll be honest with you, I see that in public places. Like I can see, you know, other generations have public affection and you're like, wow, but we don't, because we but it was literally manufactured for us to be like that.
Oh wow! And I remember when I was younger, I'm married to my husband now, but he was my boyfriend for years, and I remember, don't get your hand off me in public.
Correct, but it's a thing. So I had to.
But I just have it.
It's a thing, seriously, and I know you appreciate it in the space that you're in. But when I was reading about it, I said, "Ha ha!" And so like. It's crazy because, you know, in church, I went to a Hispanic church once, public affection everywhere. Yeah. But it is under the Jim Crow, like it says, like from the drinking of the water, it talked about public, you could not do this. Like that was unheard of. So when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh. And so it kind of confirmed why I always ask, what brings you joy? Because we should also celebrate our success and our joy at the same time, that they don't have to be separate. So what brings you joy?
My family. And when I say that, my overall family definitely brings me joy. But to wake up to my husband and my daughter, because she still sleeps in the bed. That's how every time we put it out.
No judgment. No judgment.
But this morning I actually woke up and kissed both of them. And I just thank God in that moment that this was something I prayed for. If I was to bring a child into this world, that we will be all in one household.
That's a blessing.
That if I had, regardless whatever happened to me and my husband, she will have a father that is actively and proud to be her father.
That's beautiful.
And so that brings me joy because I didn't have a father growing up. Present in my life, I say. And so with that, I wake up every day grateful for that, if nothing else. In addition to, of course, being able to wake up and open our eyes and breathe.
I think that's beautiful to be able, and it's funny because some people have shared family, because some people have said coffee. Some people have said those things, and I think it's okay for us to talk about having an amazing business and talk about the joy that we have that may not even be part of the business, right?
Yeah,
and it's important that we can bring that, we can insert that.
And I just want to say to all Black business owners that's listening or come on the show, you deserve to have it all. In every aspect.
I agree.
Friendships.
Yes.
Personal, marital, dating,
fulfillment,
relationship, all of
it.
And a thriving business.
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it. Like, we feel like we can only have this.
One, yep.
You can't have this over here. So I totally agree. As we wrap, this has been awesome, Chiquita. I just want to, before I close, because I do think that this is important for Women's History Month, I want you to just provide any level of encouragement for that woman that may be experiencing this right now, and what you would help her or him, right, to navigate through workplace.
And experience what? Just for clarification.
Yes, any kind of experience that they're experiencing, this thing that we're just talking about right now. How would you encourage them right now?
Keep something in the forefront. You're doing it for a reason, but do you know in the forefront also that you deserve respect? Mm-hmm. You deserve respect. And again, that's why there's civil rights. Oh, and nothing else. I just thought about this in July. I got invited to speak on a panel for human rights. Mm-hmm. It's not a privilege to be happy at work and to have a workplace free of toxicity and rudeness, harassment, and discrimination. It's a human right. It's a civil right. Wow. Keep that in mind.
Wow.
And so just as you feel like a police disrespecting you when they pull you over, or police brutality is wrong, you run and go get the big TV stars, the Cochran and all them stuff. You have a right in the workplace to have that attorney defend you, if nothing else, to consult and advise you on how to navigate it.
All right, guys. I mean, you have a right. And you have a right to the podcast that you listen to. So yes. Continue to keep rocking with us and tune in with us every week as we bring you incredible, outstanding Black entrepreneurs, Black thought leaders, and people who collaborate for Black businesses. Keep riding with us in this road that we're in for 2024. And I promise we're going to keep riding for you all. So thank you so much for listening to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. See you next week.
The Black Businesses Matter podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer, marketing, and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. Follow us on Instagram at Black Businesses Matter.